Hello, this is Triflic.
This is Spurr.
We're the Scapeshifters here with a modern matchup for you guys. I'm going to be on Merfolk.
I'm on Affinity.
And let's go ahead and roll to see you guys first and start playing. 7. 7. 6. 10.
10. I'll play.
Alright. Alright, so I'll go ahead and show hand. Hand isn't great, but it's odds enough to get us out there, and it's really not worth mulliganing. Having 2 of these isn't actually terrible because of our lack of mana sources. Yeah.
This hand is reasonable. We'll have 2 mana sources on turn 2. We can play all of our cards except the Etched Champion. But as long as we draw into a land or another mana source, we should be fine.
Alright, let's go ahead and get started.
We do the Blink Moth Nexus into... we'll pay 2 and go to 18, play Vault Skirge.
Alright.
And a Mox Opal. And then we'll pass the turn.
Draw. Okay, so we got that. I think we're still going to play our Mutavault first. And go for Aether Vial. Okay.
Here... we can attack for 1. Go to 19,
Yeah.
19. We'll go ahead and play an Ornithopter. If we look at damage, Signal Pest gives us 2 damage next turn, whereas Cranial Plating will give us 3 or 4, or give us 4 or 5 if we put the Signal Pest, so we'll go ahead and run out the Cranial Plating.
Alright.
So it gives us more damage in the long run. I'll pass turn.
Untap, upkeep, draw. Yeah, that was a pretty good draw if we can get to the point where we're able to play it. At this point, we could attack with Mutavault, which seems really lackluster. We're going to be starting getting hit a lot unless we can answer that Vault Skirge. What we're going to do here is we're going to cycle a Spreading Seas on this Blink Moth Nexus just to see if we can draw into some answers. And pass turn.
Here we drew a Memnite, that's good for the Cranial Plating. Just go ahead and run that out there. We'll equip to the Vault Skirge. He can't bounce it with the Harbinger yet, so it's not really relevant to put it on the Ornithopter, plus we can gain some life. And then we may as well play a Signal Pest. And then in combat we can attack for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 artifacts, so 7 damage.
Yeah.
And pass turn.
You gain 7.
Yeah, I gain 7.
Alright, end your turn, I'll activate Aether Vial.
Yep.
And no, Cursecatcher. Untap, upkeep, we'll put a counter in Aether Vial. And draw. Okay, so these are not the answers we wanted. But, let's keep playing. Okay, so I'll tap the Mutavault, play another Aether Vial, tap the Minamo, pay Cursecatcher, and pass turn.
Here we drew a land, which is good. So we can either play the Etched Champion, or we can re-equip the Cranial Plating. We can't equip it to Instant Speech because we don't have 2 black sources. Or we can not play the Etched Champion and re-equip the Cranial Plating to an Ornithopter so that we might be getting a little bit more damage through case of Harbinger. Then we also have Galvanic Blast. If we hit, we should do a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 damage. So we're visiting a lot of damage, so it's not really worth playing the Etched Champion. We may as well re-equip the Cranial Plating to the Ornithopter and try and get lethal this turn. So we'll go ahead and re-equip here and attack with everything.
Alright. Activate Aether Vial.
Yep.
And bounce the Ornithopter.
Yep.
And I'll block the Memnite with the Cursecatcher.
Okay. So you'll take 2 damage.
Yeah. You'll gain 2. and these guys will trade.
Yep. Second main phase, I'll go ahead and recast the Ornithopter and equip it with the Cranial Plating.
Alright.
That's him.
Okay, so we gotta get something good here. We'd like to take this up, but we really need to be able to interact that Ornithopter if we draw a Harbinger. So we'll just take this one. Well, the one reason we should have kicked that Aether Vial up is now in our hand. That's unfortunate. That's really unfortunate. I don't think we're going to be able to get anywhere in this game. I think he probably just has lethal on board. But, nothing to do it past turn.
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 artifacts, so we may as well just go ahead and attack.
Okay. We can't block anything, so yeah, we won't declare any blockers.
Okay. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, total 1.
And then we'll go Galvanic Blast. I'll go Galvanic Blast you.
Sacrifice Cursecatcher.
I'll pay 1.
Violin and Cursecatcher. Sacrifice Cursecatcher.
Pay 1.
And then we'll lose.
Okay. We'll give you that back.
Alright guys, that was Merfolk vs. Affinity in Game 1. We'll be back for Game 2, but first we're going to go to Sideboard. And we're back with Sideboards. So I'll go ahead and go first here. So what we're going to bring in, we've got 3 Hurkyl's Recall, which is, you know, awesome against Affinity. Enough said about that. Dismember, we want to kill his creatures, and Dismember will do it. Most of his creatures are worth more than 4 damage anyway. 2 Gut Shot, kind of the same thing as Dismember. It kills pretty much all of his creatures, for like Ornithopter, so it's pretty great. Chalice of the Void comes in, play it on 0, turn 1 on the play, and he just destroys the entire deck. And we'll bring in another Ghost Quarter because it's a kill spell, because seeing as he has 8 land creatures in his deck. To bring that in, we're going to take out 4 Master Waves because he's just too slow. And most of his creatures have flying anyway, so when we play him, he doesn't like fix the board for us. And we're going to take out 4 Cursecatchers because he just doesn't run that many non-creature or non-instant. He doesn't run that many instant sorceries. And then we're going to take out an island for the Ghost Quarter.
Alright. So, as usual with Affinity, we're not bringing out too many cards. I'm bringing out an island because we're on the draw. I'm playing 17 lands, so I can afford to do that. A Spellskite and a Memnite, just because Spellskite doesn't do much against Merfolk. They might bring in like a Dismember. Most lists I don't think run Gut Shot, so he isn't really effective. Bring out a Memnite just because it doesn't do much for us. Like early game, it'll just probably get chunk blocked by like a Cursecatcher or another like 2/2. It does limit our explosiveness by a little bit, but it should be fine. And the Thought Cast just because it's a little bit slow. Most of the time these games go quickly, so we don't want to be spending our mana playing Thought Cast. We want to be getting in the red zone and actually killing our opponent. I'm bringing in 1 Whip Flare. I play 2 in the sideboard, but I don't really like 2 against Merfolk, just because once I get some Lords in play, it can be kind of mediocre. It's good early game if you have a slower hand. You can like blow up their like a Lord or in a 1-drop maybe, or another 2-drop on turn like 2 or 3, and just gain some tempo back. And 2 Thoughtseize and a Spell Snare just to try and fight through some of the hate.
Alright, I'm going to go ahead and shuffle up and get ready for Game 2. And we're back for Game 2. Let's go ahead and draw our hands. Alright, we'll show. This hand isn't awesome. It doesn't have any of the hate we brought in, but it does have a lot of disruption and a lot of answers and stuff. It has a okay clock, and it has ways to power through to it, so we'll keep it.
This hand is interesting. We don't have what you would call like a typical Affinity star. It's not too explosive. We do have the early Thoughtseize and Galvanic Blast. If he does get too fast, we can try and shut it down. And we do have a Cranial Plating, which we can get out on turn 2. So I think this is a reasonable hand just because we have some way of like closing out the game, and we have a little bit of mana acceleration. It also it doesn't get hit too hard by Chalice of the Void, so I think it's reasonable. Keep.
Alright. Okay, let's go ahead and begin. Sort of island, Aether Vial. Good.
We'll go to theme. What Nexus we drew, and just play the Springleaf Drum. And pass.
Alright. Cavern of Souls. Out draw. Okay. So always I go into this right now is a Springleaf Drum. I'm gonna play the Mutavault, so we have some nukes. We're not gonna use one of these quite yet. And that allows us to swing with Mutavault next turn if we want to. We'll pass turn.
It's not the best draw, but it'll do. I don't think we'll go to Hercule with this board, but right now it's probably better to play Darksteel Citadel, because what does get returned to our hand, it doesn't die like Limber Void. And we don't really need Color Mana this turn. So we'll go ahead and play Signal Pest. And then play out the Cranial Plating.
And I'll spell pierce that.
Yep. And I'll pass turn.
Okay. And yep. Upkeep, counter, draw. Okay. Got another one. I think we'll play our island here. Actually, yeah, we'll go play. We'll play another Mutavault. We'll activate the old one and swing in for 2.
2-2.
And pass turn.
So what do you think about when we want to Thought Seize with this deck? You usually want to Thought Seize when you get to a point when your opponent might have hate and it'll set you back far enough that you'll lose the game. Right now, you might have a lot of hate in his hand because he's not playing a lot of action, like new creatures haven't played yet. So it might be reasonable to Thought Seize this turn, because then also we don't get blown out by turning our Darksteel Citadel and having our Glimmer Void eaten or destroyed. So if we look at our land, we have 4 land possible, so we could play Thoughtseize first and then lead into Ravager. So we'll go ahead and do that.
Okay, so we have a choice whether we want to respond to this Thoughtseize. And the only thing we can really want to do in response is cast this. There's Dismember. He's going to be looking at her anyway. Dismember. I mean, that gets rid of the Signal Pest, but Dismember for Signal Pest isn't that great of a trade, and we'll be taking 4 life out of the encounter, which is not, like, awesome at all. So I think we'll just let him see our hand.
Okay. Okay. So unfortunately, Harbinger isn't very good, or is quite good against Ravager tokens, so it's kind of a problem. So if we play the Ravager, it can always just get dismembered, and then whatever we put the tokens on can just get bounced and the counters are gone. So usually I think we'd take like the more hard move, or worse move, like Hercules or something if he had it. Right now I think the best choice is Dismember, because then he actually has to just bounce our Arcbound Ravager, which is fine with us with this slow of a hand, or draw another spell to get rid of it. Play that. And then we'll tap those things. And we'll pass turn.
Untap, draw. Okay, that's not great. We would really like more gas, but whatever is point. We're actually just going to go ahead and swing with both of our Mutavolts here. And force him to block if he wants to. He doesn't have anything too threatening right now, so I think this is fine. Mostly with the Harbingers in hand, we can fight off his attacks for a while. If he wants to block with Arcbound Ravager,
it's not really worth it for us to sacrifice things to Arcbound Ravager, because it'll just get bounced when he plays another Harbinger, or plays a Harbinger. So I think the right play here is just to go Galvanic Blast on the Mutavaults, because we know he doesn't have any Lords or anything in his hand that are going to be impactful.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't get Cursecatcher either, so that's fine. And then I'll take 2.
Alright. Good.
So we have some interaction. And so if we attack, he can't block the Signal Pest, he can bounce it, but not before we get the Battle Cry trigger. So regardless, we'll be able to trade with a Harbinger if he plays it. Worst case scenario, I guess he just bounces the Ravager. So we're definitely going to attack with both of these. We could maybe activate the Inkblot Nexus. I think that's fine. You get in some poison damage, and it's probably not going to return to our hand this turn. So we'll go ahead and activate the Inkblot Nexus and attack with our team.
Okay. So I think what we want to do here is we're Vial in the Harbinger. We're going to target the Inkmoth Nexus and block the Ravager. This will force him to either let the Ravager die or buff it up with artifacts.
So as far as sacrificing artifacts goes, we really want to keep 3 mana, because if we don't, we can't play an Etched Champion or a Master Ethereum, or play Cranial Plating and equip.
And this is in your hand, so I did bounce that.
Well, in response to the target,
Okay.
yeah, I can just think about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So like the only artifacts only artifact we can really
Haven't declared this blocker yet.
okay, we can really sacrifice the Springleaf Drum. I don't think we're sacrificing the Signal Pest, because if he has another removal, like even a Hurkyl's, it's really bad for us. So the other option, so we don't want to sacrifice the artifacts to the Arcbound Ravager. I don't think that's worth it. We could always just trade with the Harbinger, with the counters on the Signal Pest, or we could use our Galvanic Blast on the Harbinger before he declares blockers. That might be the best option, because then if he has like land, no. I think we can do that, because then that gives us more options later on, so we don't lose our Arcbound Ravager. So if he plays like a Dismember or Gut Shot later, or we draw more useless artifacts like a Mox Opal or another Springleaf Drum, we could actually like utilize the Arcbound Ravager. So I think right now we're going to go ahead and Galvanic Blast the Harbinger in response to the bounce.
Alright.
So this will get bounced to our hand. So die, and he'll take just 2 damage.
Yep.
I think we can sacrifice the Springleaf Drum to the Arcbound Ravager to make it 1 more.
Alright.
Okay. And then second main phase, we'll go ahead and replay the Inkmoth Nexus.
Alright.
On pass turn.
Good cards. It's an okay card. I like that card. So what we'll do here is we'll play Island. And we'll just go ahead and play out this Lord of Atlantis.
Okay.
And that.
So we can play around the Harbinger by not attacking. That might be a legitimate play because of what we drew. Well, worst case scenario, we double attack. He tries to bounce the Arcbound Ravager. We sack it to the Signal Pest or the Inkmoth Nexus, and then we get Dismembered or Hurkylled, which isn't exactly ideal. So I think that we just want to play. We could play this over and pass, Overseer and pass. But if we get next turn we're facing down to 5 damage, maybe up to 8 damage probably. Maybe he plays another 2-drop. You want card in hand?
Yeah.
So I think we're definitely gonna play this. That's gonna happen this turn. And I think the best play here is then just to pass. Because then we face less damage this turn, and we can keep his interaction in his hand.
Keep, draw. Okay, that's a solid card. Yeah, we'll just keep doing what we're doing. We're gonna play Master of the Pearl Trident.
Drop my card.
Ah, come on, Spurr.
So I think that's a that represents a lot of damage with the Mutavault and the Lord of Atlantis. So I think we're just gonna go ahead and spell snag that.
Ooh, okay.
And just hope he has a draw Hercules in the coming turns.
Okay, so that changes up our plans. This is really unfortunate, but the Steel Overseer is going to start making his things big enough to the point where we can't trade with them, which is not good. But that's just what we're going to have to deal with. We're just going to pass turn.
So he still only has the Harbinger. So definitely the best play in this situation is to play the Arcbound Ravager, so we can get extra tokens on it with Steel Overseer. And if need be, we can sacrifice the other Arcbound Ravager to that Arcbound Ravager to get more value. So we should attack this turn. We're gonna get something's gonna get bounced, probably either the Ravager or the Overseer. So I'll go ahead and I'll just clear attackers. And then we'll go ahead and activate Overseer. And we'll get the battle card trigger. In this situation, we may as well activate Inkbound Nexus in response to the trigger as well, because we can't really play around Hercules.
Okay. What we'll do here is we'll activate Mutavault. What I'm going to do is put both of our guys in front of the Arcbound Ravager. So force him to either sacrifice stuff to it, or have it die.
In the situation, we'll be trading the Ravager for either the Lord or the Mutavault, which I think is an acceptable trade in this situation, because otherwise he's just going to bounce it or we target with the Ravager, so that's fine.
Alright.
Okay.
So I'll be taking one.
Just one. And then when this dies, I'll kill the Lord.
Actually, so you're going to do...
I'm gonna do all three to the Lord in case you don't know. You don't have it in the Lord in your hand, but it doesn't really matter. And then when this dies, I'll target. You're at 16. Are you taking damage from this? You haven't taken damage from this.
I did.
You did, okay.
I took the one.
So we can't replay whatever he bounces. So I think we'll go ahead and put it on the Inkbound Nexus if you want to bounce that.
Okay. Go to instep.
Okay. Just because the stuff is lethal in 2 turns, and if he bounces it, that's fine because we can replay it. We can't at the end step, but then we can just win with damage instead.
So I think what we'll do here is just hold out and wait. So we'll go ahead. Okay, that's not terrible. We'll get another Mutavault. Pass.
Not the best draw again, but we'll live with it. We're just gonna attack again and work through whatever he has. Well, he could can block the Arcbound Ravager again. He could double block it. We have 2 counters on it. That's fine, because we can always sacrifice the Citadel. It would have been better to hold this until post-combat, because he might not think he'd sacrifice it. Would probably be better, but oh well, it's too late now. We're going to activate Inkmoth Nexus and swing with the team.
Okay.
Or, sorry, we won't attack with this.
So, yeah, we have to deal with that Inkmoth Nexus. Because if we don't, we're going to be just run over by Infect. So... yeah, before we get blockers, we'll trade Aether Vial and bounce the Inkmoth Nexus.
The Inkmoth Nexus is worth keeping because we can always sacrifice it. Artifacts with Arcbound if we get really desperate. But we can sacrifice it. If we do sacrifice it, Arcbound gives us 3 counters, maybe 4, which will let us trade with 2 of his creatures if we double blocks. Actually, it's already 3 power from the Signal Pest, so that's not really needed. So we'll just let this go back to our hand.
Okay, at this point we're taking 4 damage. Yeah, that kind of is awkward. So his clock right now is we can do 6 damage a turn. He's doing 4 here, 5, 6. That's Steel Overseer. He's currently running the race, which is unfortunate. And killing the Arcbound Ravager doesn't. It slightly increases our chances, but gives him. It doesn't decrease his clock at all, except for the fact that he can't get an extra Steel Overseer counter. And we'd have to sacrifice pretty much all of our clock to get rid of it. So at this point, we're just going to take the damage and hope we can get some good hate soon.
Before damage, I'm going to buff everybody.
Okay, so I'm going to take 6.
It's 2, 5, 6.
Okay. And see, hopefully we can draw some good cards. That's a pretty good card. I'm okay with that. Okay, so next turn, we know he's Inkmoth in hand. He can swing in for... I mean, next turn at this point, it's better for him almost to attack with the Steel Overseer instead of buff with it. He can swing in for 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 if he swings with Steel Overseer. So we gotta make sure we're not dead next turn. But if we can start dealing him some damage and get a clock, it's kind of our only chance. We can't wait. So we're gonna go ahead and Aether Vial and the Lord of Atlantis, and then animate both of our Mutavaults and attack you for 9.
Okay. I can't do anything. I'll go to 7.
Yeah, so this is options next turn. We have the Lord of Atlantis to chump with if it comes to it, and yeah, it puts him in realms of...
So sorry about that. The camera cut out the last turn, so we rewinded a little bit, and we're just gonna go through my last turn.
Yeah. Okay. And we're passing it to you.
So I'll go ahead and untap. And in this situation, I probably should have sacrificed the Inkmoth Nexus earlier and not waited, because his quality of draws are better. But oh well. Hindsight is 50-50. So here he's only a 10, so that's not how it goes, is it?
It's not.
20-20.
Yeah, that's
okay. Okay. So I mean, we have lethal just with sacrificing everything. We can play a Blinkmoth, make an artifact. We'll go ahead and sack 3 artifacts to the Ravager, put it back up to 6. We can pump everything, and then sack the Overseer, and then sack the Ravager to itself, and put all the counters in the Pest. And that should be 11 damage.
And that puts us to -1.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's a game. It was pretty close.
Yeah, it was pretty close. I mean, one more turn.
Yeah, what we had coming, we had Silvergill Adept into Hurkyl's Recall.
Yeah.
So we would have been able to reset the board, but yeah, we didn't. We didn't get it. Yeah, it's a difficult matchup.
Yeah.
You can run 4 Hurkyl's Recall in the sideboard. That might start being the norm, especially with these new Sword of the Meek, Thopter Foundry combos running around. Circle's Recall gets a lot better. So that might just have to happen. It's a hard matchup for Merfolk.
And also, that's in sideboarding. You gotta sideboard at Etched Champion because it's never going to Mutavault. It really depends just if you see them or not. Like, that game would have been pretty bad, so I don't know.
Well, there was Modern Magic with the Scape Shifters where we had Merfolk versus Affinity. Keep watching, guys. We're going to keep throwing out content for you as long as you're going to keep watching it, and keep checking back for new content.